Hey everybody, welcome back to the Turnout. I am your host Aloy. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you always know when we put out a new video or when we go live like we're doing right now. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. Now, of course, this is not my normal time on a Saturday that I would be going live. At the same time, hey, you know what? I said it's better late than never, you know? So what we're going to be talking about today's episode, yesterday's episode, which was hashing it out. And this is episode 10, and we're leading up to episode 11, which is obviously where we're going to get a lot of discussion about how this charm ties into the OG Charmed. So I'm very, very excited about the next episode after this one. So we will see how that all hashes out. Oh, hey, that's in the title. Hey. But obviously, I should probably go ahead and just remark on the fact that yeah, I haven't really been around for the last few weeks. There are reasons for that. Largely, it's because I've been doing a whole lot. I don't know if everybody knew, but my garage here is actually my studio. We've taken a lot of time to like convert my studio, convert the garage into an actual working studio. So this is where I make my music. This is where I record my videos now. This is where I do a lot of stuff. Hey, O'Dane, good to see you. And so I've been doing even more of that over the last few weeks. On top of that, obviously, we also had some plumbing issues. So like half of the stuff back here behind the tarp is like bathroom stuff that I covered up with a tarp because you don't need to see that stuff. Uh, but like it's pretty messy behind me. My desk is in a new place, but it's making this area over here. It's going to make it a little bit more a little bit easier for me to record and for me to do things. So that's been a big deal and kind of why I haven't really been around. That on top of the fact that I've actually been some of the people who are here on the channel know that I do music. The name of my band is Strays of the World. And I've been finishing up the last album. Not only that, but also finishing up all of the launch stuff for the album. So that is obviously now underway. Yeah, I mean, so that's where we're at there. So that obviously takes a lot of time and effort to release an album. I'm gonna put a link over in the chat. So if you're interested in checking out the release of the new album, hit that link. And that link will give you all the information. You even get the album for free if you use it. So there you go. All right. So now back over to Charmed. Obviously, just wanted to say thank you for all of you who kind of are sticking in there with me. I know that an interruption of the show right as we get the cancellation news and whatnot is not a good look, but it was all it was all used for good things, so just wanted to let everybody know. So instead of going scene for scene like I normally do, while I was watching the episode, I basically took notes on the big things that I really, really enjoyed about this episode 10, hashing it out. First off, everybody was really, really well written. It was acted really amazingly, except I think for the scene where Maggie throws the electricity. I think that she, instead of going like, she went like, it was a little dramatic in the way that she did it, but also it was a cool scene. It was an interesting thought there too, because what we had seen previously with her duplication power was not that she would steal the power, but she would also have the power. And in this case, with the lightning girl, she didn't just also shoot lightning. She made it so that the lightning girl couldn't shoot lightning herself, and then she, shot her. So that's new. That's yet another progression of Maggie's power. Not only can she mimic your power, but she can actually steal it. Like, so she's like Rogue now, only Rogue didn't get the chance to decide when it happens, but Maggie apparently can. So That's kind of crazy. In the meantime, since I've actually been out, I actually ended up doing two collabs because that did not require me uh, making this space and everything, and really zeroing and doing all the editing and doing all the everything. But go check out Kristen Maldonado's channel. We talked a bit about the cancellation of the show, so you definitely want to go check that out. And yeah, you won. And then the other one was with Maria from Approach the Nerd. But we weren't talking about Charmed because we can't just keep it on one thing. We talked about the Multiverse of Madness. So go check that out. Those are two things that I've been able to carve out a little bit of time in the last couple of weeks to get done. This, of course, is what we're talking about here. But yeah, now she can steal. I'm seeing you saying that, O'Dane. Let me see what you're saying here. Let's see. That was dope writing, having Kayla using Dev's blood to wipe out Sunnydale's stripes. Sunny's tail stripes. Yeah. So that was definitely one of my big moments that I wrote here. Like, I was kind of doing a puzzle while I was watching it, because that's what I was doing today. I don't know why, but I was kind of doing a puzzle while I was watching the episode. And while I was doing that, literally, like, I saw that scene happening and I just started going, oh, oh, oh. Like, I started losing it. And my wife was like giving me weird looks. And I was like, but let me explain to you what's going on here. And she was just like, okay. People don't understand us, guys. They don't understand us. We're so into this show. They just don't get it. Hey, Kevin, good to see you. But yeah, honestly, Kayla'S ability to draw something and have it manifest. This is the problem, right? So I'm not going to spoil anything in Multiverse of Madness, the Doctor Strange movie, but there is a scene where if you tell whoever it is you're fighting the thing that you have over them, then your opponent will figure out how to defeat you pretty quickly. Because that, I think, was Sunny's downfall, is that she didn't just say, I have 9 lives. You can't defeat me. She said, I have 9 lives. See my drawing of tallies? Oh, now I have shown you, because you are the witch who can draw things and make it manifest. Now I've shown you how to defeat me. And that was the thing. It's just like, villain monologues and villain reveals and stuff like that. It's like, if she had just said nothing and just took out her claws and just murdered Kayla, she probably would have won that fight. But the fact is, she decided to, be all dramatic. Look, 4. Look at this. Look at it, though. It's black and then it's red, and you have red, but look at it. And I know all of your powers. I know exactly what you can do, but I'm going to show you this anyway, because there's no way you could defeat me. See, it's and I loved the video, and that's not actually the episode. This isn't an indictment of this episode. This is an indictment of like TV writing in general. So like, I didn't see it coming, and I guess Sunny didn't either, but it was teed up so well. That one was a huge moment for me. I was like, this is awesome. Really amazing use of her power, and also to show you the extent that her power can go. It's not just, I draw something and then I bring it into the reality. You notice in the last episode that she drew a hand holding a knife, and then all of a sudden Mel was holding a knife. So she can manifest that way as well. But then she can also, now that we're, finding this out, obviously, obviously that we're finding this out, but now she can just draw with blood. It doesn't even need to be like pencils and, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, nope, blood. I'm drawing with blood. And it's like, so yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. It's too crazy. And honestly, that moment really kind of like blew so much of the, like, it made me forget most of the good thing. I was like making notes along the way, but like that whole episode could have just been that scene, and I would have been completely happy. But I like really, really liked it. The big reveal in the last episode was that Kayla'S parents were normal and that she got her abilities, quote unquote, from the from having stem cells. I'm not 100% sold on the idea that the stem cells are just like the reason. And there were some tweets from the writers on the show who said that they wanted to give you an idea that like you don't have to be born, like you don't have to be like royal blood and all that stuff to become a charmed one. Anybody can become a charmed one. And I feel like they left that a lot out in the open, and I think it's going to get maybe explained later on, or it would have in season 5. I don't think that we have time to really like go down the rabbit hole with that, but like I liked the explanation of stem cells, and what that does though is it allows us to kind of brush that mystery aside. But originally at the beginning of the season, the writers said that they were going to spend the whole season to explain how Kayla fits into all of it. Not 9 episodes to explain. They said that they were going to take the whole season to explain. And Jayla works, Kevin. It works. So yeah, so there was that. Let's see. So I liked the Jordan Maggie stuff going on in this episode. I like that they were like, well, maybe we should give each other our stuff back, but like let's squeeze in one more like breakup sex, which it's a thing. It's a common thing with couples that, especially if they're breaking up due to outside circumstances and not necessarily because they're not into each other anymore. So they have the breakup sex, and then by the end of the episode it turns into maybe you should just stay. And I don't know if this means they're going to get back together. I don't necessarily think they need to. I'm okay. I feel like even if they were to break up, that's not a terrible place to leave that storyline. I think it works out. But I'm interested to see if they actually do end up getting back together, or if they end up, finally breaking up in the midst of all of this craziness that's happening around them. What I will say, one of the moments that I really enjoyed was while they were fighting off all these demons. You had the charmed ones that had all their powers, or at some point they didn't have their powers, but even when they had their powers, but you just have Jordan there, and Jordan's not even souped up. Like he doesn't have any like extra fighting ability or extra strength or anything like that. He's just big and a fighter, and he was just knocking the hell out of these guys. And I liked that. I think what that did is it showed that you don't necessarily need to be a charmed one to hold your own in a fight. Or to fight beside the charmed ones. And obviously that is something that we learned today. Well, I mean, I watched the episode this morning, but that's something that we learned in this episode when it came to Dev. I kind of knew something was up at the beginning of the episode because Dev and Kayla were just having the greatest day. They were having the greatest day that ever could be dayed. And, it was really, really just so sweet. I loved all their interaction. So like basically by like the third or fourth really sweet scene that was very emotional, I was like, okay, well then we're definitely losing one or the other today, and they ain't gonna kill Kayla. So I kind of saw it coming. I don't want to say that made it any easier because I really, really like Dev's character. But yes, Dev ended up going the way of many exes of the charmed ones. But I really enjoyed it because the scene with him and Sunny where she's like, well, you shouldn't be with them, you should be with us. And he's like, no, like I'm over here because I see the good that's in them. I was hoping that his refusal to quit the charmed ones and join with the unseen would have maybe gone maybe towards the other people there for the unseen, of seeing like, oh, well, maybe they're not all bad because we know Dev was on our side a few episodes ago, but what changed his mind? Like, I'm really interested in that. And I feel like that obviously could have had Sonny not killed him. But yeah, I really, really felt bad because I loved Dev. Like, not only the actor, he did an amazing job with the role, but the character was just so much fun. I love the Gandharva. I was hoping that there was going to be something with the tea kettle that Kayla had at the end, which was also just oh man, like the tea kettle came and she rubbed it and it started he like kept his singing in there and it was singing okay love, oh okay love, and I was like, oh man, come on. And then that's when she broke down, and when Mel and Maggie had to be there for her. But even the actress, like, she pulled off the crying scene really, really well. Really great. Oh no, O'Dane, you said Dev couldn't stay on the show for too long, according to Joey, so they had to write him off. See, and that stinks. That stinks for that to be the reason. But it is better story-wise for him to die than for him to just be like, peace out, see you later, because then that just leaves the door open for too much, where we're all just like, well, when is he going to come back? It's like, well, he ain't coming back. So sometimes it is better to just close that door, and you really milk it for like a nice dramatic moment. And I think that they did that quite well. So really, really dope. I thought that they did a great job with Kayla and Dev. That whole episode, they were just too good, honestly. Like, every scene was like, "Ooh," or like every scene, like, there was not a bad scene with them in this episode. Um, the other big thing that happened besides the core plot, and then we'll get to that in a second, but the other big thing that happened is obviously the whole Mel and Roxy thing. Um, I don't know necessarily if I actually like the Mel Roxy thing. I don't know. I I think I feel indifferent because it's Mel, and I feel like they've tried to throw so many different love interests at Mel that I have become jaded. So it's not interesting to me to see Mel try and pursue a romantic relationship. That's not to say that she shouldn't, or that they shouldn't include it in the show, but that is not interesting to me. Kind of like, the longer that it was the Harry Macy thing and they weren't together, the more I was just like, all right, either know, they either get together or they don't get together. Can we end this, please? So yeah, the whole Mel thing with Roxy, I really liked that we got to see kind of a little bit of the world through Roxy's eyes. And that's actually how the episode began, where seeing her every time she woke up. I actually really did like that. I think it showed that she isn't kind of what you're saying, Kevin, where you're saying it also made me feel like Roxy comes off as shady when all she wanted to do was say goodbye to her lover. And that's the thing. I think Roxy comes off shady in general, but I think she comes off shady in general because just her demeanor and the way she speaks, and like, like, it's weird to say, but like, if you were watching a Western and there was this guy and he had a black hat on, you'd be like, well, he must be the bad guy, because white hats are the ones who are the good guys in a Western. And that's basically where she comes off. She has all the dressings of somebody who you're supposed to not believe. She's dressed in dark clothes. She's she's like the head honcho of like a group. She seemingly works together with them and then doesn't at other times. And it seems like, ooh, like she's such a mystery and stuff, but like really she's just like a person. And that's the kind of great character that you want, is you just kind of want a character who's like, yeah, I'm just me. Like, there you go. So it was cool to see it through her eyes. Again, if Mel and Roxy get together, I guess I'm okay with it. If Roxy and Mel don't get together, I guess I'm okay with it. I am 100% indifferent at this point. And I love Mel. I just don't care if she's sleeping with anybody or if she's in a relationship or anything. I would actually love it if by the end of the series she decided, you know what? I think I'm going to go single now. You know, like I've tried it with me, Nico. I tried it with Ruby. I'm trying it with Roxy, and now she's gonna leave in like 2 days. I've tried it with all these other women. I've tried it with Jada. Like, you know what? Maybe I don't need somebody. And then maybe she finds the true happiness is just she doesn't need to be with somebody. I think that would be the best ending for Mel at this point. Obviously, the best ending for Maggie would be that she gets to live a life with Jordan, because anybody would be lucky to live a life with Jordan. Uh, and then obviously for Kayla, I don't see much. I mean, I don't even know what to say for Kayla. I don't know how she gets her happy ending here. It's gonna just be an interesting, ride for her, and maybe she'll find, happiness in just this her found family, her newfound family, or maybe she goes back to her old family. Maybe she goes back and lives with her parents, and she's just like, I'm done with magic. Like, who knows what's gonna happen? Could be anything. But I did think that the Mel and Roxy thing definitely worth talking about, because it does have larger implications. I mean, considering her sexual history, she definitely needs to stay single for a while. No, you can be single and still be out there having sex. I'm just saying she shouldn't be trying to establish any type of relationship. Maybe she doesn't need that. The occasional fling is fine. She doesn't need a lover or somebody in her life, because it just rings hollow for me at this point, and I just don't get it. I like Roxy. If you want lovey dovey, you have Chloe. True, very good point, because you don't want to have somebody who is overly joyful, but again, she's clothed and like she's depicted that way because it's supposed to make you think, because obviously when we first met Roxy, it was a different situation than it is now that we've gotten to know her over several episodes. But when she was first introduced, she was the person up in the ivory tower, like the big like back office, that was up on the staircase, like she's this big person that's up there. So I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. I see Maria's here. Hey Maria. Blasphemy Alloy, the LGBTQ plus character, needs to find love. I mean, and she probably will. I'm just not necessarily invested. And there you go. If she doesn't find love, then I'm okay with it. And if she does find love, hey, more power to her. That's the problem, is that it just doesn't. Nothing about it necessarily, makes me want Mel to find love. Every time she tries, it just doesn't work. And I think me as a viewer, I'm done with. Because I don't care. I don't care, man, woman, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, I just want it to not. I just don't want every relationship that she has to just ring hollow. And it's just like at this point, her getting with Roxy is kind of like, I guess you could. I don't know. And you're saying Maggie needs to be single for a while. She tried it with Parker. She tried it technically with Antonio via Wet Dream, and she tried it with Jordan. I completely agree with that. I think the writing is pointed in the direction of probably Jordan and her ending up together, and that being kind of the big, happy ending for her. At the same time, I actually would really like it if they, at the end of it, said, yeah, you know what? I think I think that maybe we shouldn't be together, and maybe that shouldn't be Jordan's choice, even though it really should he be his choice. Maybe it's her choice. Maybe she says, you know what, I think you're right, and I think I need to get my crap together before we can try again later. And you know what? That's fair. I think that would be good. And so if Mel doesn't get with anybody, and Maggie doesn't get with anybody, and the person that Kayla was getting with is now kind of gone because of Dev, R.I.P. Dev, then I think we got it, right? Like, all three of the charmed ones will be single at the end of this season, aka the end of the series. And honestly, I think that that's the most fair point That would be the most fair storyline going forward, is that none of them are with anybody. All of them need to now look to each other, and that will solidify that Charmed One unit that they have. And then that's the only way that they're going to be able to defeat the Lost One or whatever. So I could see that. That could be pretty cool. Jordan's soulmate is Harry. Hey, I'd ship them too. If they had any kind of chemistry, I'd be all over that, because they actually would make kind of a cute couple. He's a little older. He's with a guy who's kind of taller and young. That could work. I'm just saying. So I guess what I would say next is the big thing. We'll see. And Kevin is saying, yeah, a male bromance. I wasn't even saying bromance. Just saying. Was the command center invasion by the Unseen. I really liked this. It all was executed really, really well. Like, they showed us the background on how they got the blood and the marble to get them in. It showed how they were rifling through everything. I mean, oh my gosh, like, if this show really wasn't writing it so hard, like, we definitely can see what they were doing. They were drawing an allegory to the Unseen, to kind of the MAGA movement. How they went into the command center is actually kind of close to the way that a lot of, like, the video and stuff that we saw of the January 6th insurrectionists going through the halls of Congress and going into all of the offices and defiling all of the stuff. Like, it really felt like that. And honestly, like, I don't know anybody here who has had, like, their home robbed or anything like that. Like, it definitely, it gave me icky feelings. And that is exactly what you want a scene like that to do, right? Like I said, it was executed so well, and it made me feel like, oh my God, I can't believe that they're actually, like, they're in there and they're going through it all. And I loved kind of the back and forth that they had with each other, because they were like, oh, you're going to tell me that, if the Charm Ones didn't come in right now and see us rifling through this stuff, that they wouldn't just instantly vanquish us. And I'm like, see, I'm telling you, that's because that's what they were doing for seasons. They would just see a demon and vanquish them. Like, so yeah, totally. I completely see why they would be saying that. So anyway, they would be cute. I agree. So that's, honestly, I felt like that was really, really well executed. And obviously it was led by Sonny. And I don't remember his name, but the heavy set bald guy who has been the one on the gym cast, the one who basically has, like, the Alex Jones style show against the Charmed Ones. He was at the front of it, and he was the only one that survived, which was kind of also crazy. All the other ones got taken out. Obviously, okay, so I have to give a shout out to the one demon. We don't know what type of demon they were. But I really, really liked the kind of guy in the suit who was like, whoa, I don't like what's happening here. I agree with you that we need representation, but I don't like what's happening here with all of this. And then, when he was talking with Mel, and he was just like, I think that what we can do is we can come to an agreement. And then Sonny killed him. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that guy, like, I identified so hard with that guy. Like, I felt like I was that guy. If I was in the show, I would be the random demon who was just kind of like, I don't know, these guys have kind of an okay point. Maybe I should go with them, and maybe we can negotiate something. Like, that would be me. So I felt like really bad for him, as like, hey, I actually got through to Mel, and maybe we can, oh God. And I was like, oh man, that sucked. I felt so bad for him. And I think that really that just reinforced just how bad Sonny was. So it just made you hate Sonny even more. So they did a good job with that. But I think the whole command center invasion, and the fact that, and honestly, it didn't even dawn on me until the very last scene when we saw it, obviously, is they were like, hey, no one else survived. And it was just like, oh man, that sucks. But I got something that's even better. And I'm like, oh my God, what could he have gotten? And he stole the Book of Shadows. And I'm like, what? Again, my wife was like, what is happening in the show? And I'm like, but they stole the Book of Shadows. And I was like, wait a minute, you're not even supposed to be able to touch that unless you're a witch, right? Is that a thing? Especially if you're a demon, you're not supposed to be able to touch it if you're a demon, because that's the real Book of Shadows that has like the protection. So I found that to be very weird that they were even able to steal it, but also I'm okay with it because that was brilliant, like on their part. I'm okay if we even just throw out the already set precedent that like if you're not a charmed one or if you're not a witch, you're not supposed to touch it. I'm okay with it because that was brilliant. I can't wait to see what they do with it. So I'm okay with it. Maybe he had a thing from the Ice Girl. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is. So I liked that. I liked that a lot. And then obviously the last thing is that Harry was in like a ghost blockbuster in the Vale and met another white lighter. So I feel like that white lighter is going to end up leading into the next episode and will obviously be part of the fact, that we've already been told that episode 11 is going to explain how this series is linked to the OG series. I did have a prediction that I gave on Kristen Maldonado's channel. I will share it here just because I feel like it would be interesting to share it here just to see if it actually happens. I don't think it will happen, but here's my prediction. Because there is no member of the original cast that didn't like just downplay the show and openly mock it, except for Shannon Doherty. I think, and Shannon Doherty is the one who died in the show, and now we have a white lighter turn necro lighter. I think that in the Vale, I think that Harry is going to find Prue and bring Prue back. And the reason that I say that is because they just proved that they can do that because he just brought Dexter back. So that's my thought. I don't know, but that's my thought as to what could happen in the next episode, because right now he's still stuck in the Vale. Because we don't know what happens after he got knocked out, which seems weird that he could get knocked out in a place where he had to knock his physical body out to like I don't understand how this is his consciousness that has gone to the other world. So how can you knock out his unconsciousness? Wait, how can you make his consciousness unconscious without him just returning to his body? It seemed very odd, but again, it's fine. Oh, Dane, you agree with me. You think Shannon's going to appear in episode 11? Because that's my thought. But again, because she's the only one, first off, that hasn't, dissed the show. But also, even logistically, it works because we have a necro lighter who can go and get a dead charmed one. So I like the idea. We'll see if that happens. Let me see. I don't think that Shannon Doherty is going to appear in the reboot, but would love if she does. Well, and so that's the thing, right? And I think somebody said like, well, maybe she's too busy or whatever. But she's done other reboots before. She did the 90210 reboot. Like if you can do the 90210 reboot, and she did it, partially remotely, then you can do this one for one episode, is what I say. I guess it depends on how many zeros is on that check. So yeah, those were the giant moments for me in this episode. If there were any other moments that you want to discuss, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to go into the comments and I'm going to start talking about the comments. I do want to just again let everybody know that my album will be coming out soon, and there's a link at the top of the chat for you to get a copy of the album for free. Before it drops public, you're going to get a copy. So go check out the link. It's the charades-of-the-world-music.com link at the very top. Go check it out, please. That helps me out a lot. Like, again, the reason I haven't really been here in the last few weeks is because I've been working super hard on the album release. I hope that you like the music. Go check out how you can get the album for free. But let's go through these comments here. Let's see. Yeah, so she could mimic powers. Now she can steal them 100%. Which again is an interesting progression for power. I'm okay with it. I don't know. R.I.P. Dev, though. He was a great boyfriend. He was a great boyfriend for a day. The best day of either of their lives. Honestly, again, like every scene with them was the best. Um, yeah, yeah. Sunny's fate was sealed when she constantly brought up how many lives she had. Exactly. Exactly. Like you don't have to like, that would be like if you were watching The Highlander and they were just walking around going like, "Oh, by the way, I'm immortal." "Oh, hey, by the way, I'm immortal." But also the only way you can kill me is by cutting off my head. But did you know I'm immortal? It's just like, "Oh, but again, that's TV writing for you. I don't even fault the writers on that. Like they needed to broadcast things so that it made sense when you had this epic scene of Kayla taking out Sunny. And Sunny was crazy. Sunny was doing terrible things behind the scenes for a long time. So I was okay with it. I was okay with it. And yeah, the explanation of Kayla's connection was hokey, but it reminded me of the OG Charmed with the blood eps, where the doc went crazy because of their power. See? Yeah, there you go. Let's see. I feel bad for Mel when Roxy used her, but now she knows how the others feel. Gotcha. Oh, missing letters throw me off all the time. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was kind of what somebody else said, or that might have been you. But I feel like Roxy was kind of framed so that you would distrust her, but really she had to leave. She has to go to sleep in a couple of days. So that's the thing, right? It's like Mel might be like, "Hey, I think I want to be with you," and she'd be like, "Psych, I got to go to bed for 7 years." So psych. Vina fan, good to see you here. I think a big hint as to the future was the guy and the unseen talking about representation. I think this is alluding to the elders being recreated with all the magical creatures, which I think that honestly is a good idea. The idea of the elder of witches, the elder witches being like the ones who like oversaw everything. Yeah, I could see how being a magical creature, maybe you don't like that. Um, so yeah, I'm on board with that. I think that would be wonderful. Now, of course, then the question becomes, how do you figure out who represents and who, like, will there be elections? Is that what like, are there elections? Are there, like, because that's the thing, right? It's like there is no representation anywhere, even for the witches at this point, because there's not even the witches council anymore. So you need equal representation from who, like, and what are you trying to say? Like, oh, so we want all of the other creatures to be able to vote on whether or not the charmed ones can get to do things? Like, that sounds like some Sokovia Accord, nonsense right here. So I'm just saying sounds like the Sokovia Accords to me. Let's see. I had issues with a few things that make the elders look incompetent. Also, Dev's voice. Why not use it against Sunny, who is a cat? I agree with that. Immediately, I was just like, oh, he's going to pull out his voice and he's going to like sing something. It's going to hurt her ears. That's kind of where I thought it was going to go. At the same time, we didn't necessarily get to see him getting taken out. So we don't know how it went. Maybe he did, and maybe she had, earplugs, or like, who knows, right? I don't know. I feel like if they had shown us the whole fight, then we would have been able to, Monday morning quarterback, the fight. But I think leaving that fight out and just knowing that Sonny was able to overtake Dev, I think that was good on the part of the showrunners and the director to not have us do that, because honestly, Dev probably could have taken her out, but Dev needed to die, because the actor needed to leave, but also for the emotional impact that it will now have on Kayla. So whether or not it logistically he should have won, it was Sunny's day, at least in that moment. At least in that moment. All right. Let's see what ends up happening here. The actor who played Cole didn't mock it. He said he was down to return. Who knows? I mean, but like, if they were going to have a connection to the OG Charmed, I wouldn't think it would be through Cole. I think it would have to go, like, they would obviously, if Cole was like the only one who said yes, then sure. But it seems like if they were going to have someone guest star, and I will point out that it hasn't even been said that anybody will guest star at this point. If somebody was to guest star, it would have to be somebody who is on board for the show. And, I guess that only means it could be Shannon, is my thought. I mean, and I could be completely wrong. Maybe they've all made amends behind the scenes and all three of the OG sisters show up. Like, who knows? I don't know. Let's see. Comments are fun. Oh, you're saying Shannon Darty, her cancer is stage 4 currently. It depends on what's... Okay, so my mom has cancer currently. And her cancer, it has been stage 4 for probably like 2 years, but it hasn't been until probably the last 6 months or so where that she was actually debilitated and not able to do much. So, I guess it depends on what stage of stage 4 her cancer is. So she could technically still be doing things. I don't know if she's going to be. Again, we don't really have confirmation. We just know that episode 11 is going to link it to the OG. Not that necessarily anybody from the OG series will be in the show, but it will show you the connection. So I guess we'll see what happens. Let's see. I would be a little sad. That would be a little sad to learn that Prue was stuck in the Veil for 15 years. Well, it would be, but honestly, if you think about it, the Veil is for people who have unfinished business. And I mean, I don't think Prue was like done with life. I think that she was the type of person who would have lots of unfinished business, even if it was just to look out for her sisters and for other charmed ones. Like, that would be the kind of person that she was. So I would be completely down with that. I don't think it would be sad at all. What if it turned out that she was like the one who, created the tree and like instituted the guardians, and she's doing all of this from the Veil? Because we've seen that now the guardian can travel to the Veil. She did it too, right? So that means that other people who have been... So that's the thing, is that they're revealing a lot of stuff and they're not necessarily calling it out, right? The fact that the fact that the Guardian could just go to the Veil to talk with Harry and stuff means that any of the past charmed ones who died could just be going to the Veil if they stuck around. So I could see like Prue as like another Guardian. Maybe she's a Guardian who does more active things so she doesn't hang out at the tree all the time. The tree is not where it's happening. Just saying. Prue needs action. Each community can send a representative. Well, the problem with each community is there's witches who are humans, usually women who have magical powers. But let's just go off of one hand. There's leprechauns, fairies, goblins, ogres, elves, demons, multiple demon families. It's just like, so that's just 10, and that's without me taking out my monster manual. So like, if they're going to do stuff like all the fairy creatures, so that would have all of your leprechauns, your fairies, your gremlins, your boggins, things like that. If you were like, all of you are now fairies and now you get to select a representative, that might work if you started kind of subcategorizing them, but I don't know if they're going to like that. So what if the fairies or the pixies, what if the pixies are like, no, we don't want to get lumped into the same group as the gremlins? So it's just like, I just say it's just, the thing with representation is just that it just, you end up having to hit a line, right, where everybody can't have representation. It might be that all of these people get to elect people who then go and represent them, and then it just turns. But then, of course, what if those people are corrupted? And it's a whole big thing. Let's see. Didn't Penny say to Piper that she couldn't summon Prue because she was adjusting? in Tool this to mean that she was with Patty and Penny and the rest of their ancestral lines. True. I mean, it could be. It could be, is all I'm saying. It could be anything. And again, like after so many years, what if she was with the ancestral lines, but then she had to break out of the ancestral lines in order to come back to right the wrong? And maybe the lost one is, one of the other sisters who got corrupted along the, because, they have to kind of come up with all the backstory and stuff. There's a bunch of different ways it could go. Could be. Excuse me, I should have probably muted my mic. Yeah, he said a big hint, exactly. What if their mockery of the show was all an act so that we wouldn't know? No. No, if it would be that would be some like top grade acting, because then it wasn't just like they made a statement. It was just like many statements on their socials, all the stuff. Like, no, I'm sorry, I don't think so. I don't think that it was just that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this episode. Man, it was actually really good. I loved this episode. This was one of my faves of this whole season. Is this one right here, hashing it out. And yeah, I think that's what I'll say on that. Otherwise, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you always know when we release a new video. Go to the top of the chat and check out the link to my album release. And other than that, I have been your host, Aloy. This has been The Turnout. Thanks for showing up. We will see you next week for the next episode. I'm so excited for that one.